Hello, hello. Welcome to Tia's Digital Tea Time. It's 7 o'clock and we have author interviews tonight. So I am just chilling in my group. I'm waiting for Selena to come in. I did not go through my event. Hi, author Lena. How are you? Lena, I didn't go through my event because sometimes it doesn't always come on. So as soon as I see, the author show up, I will tell her how to get on and hopefully she'll request and we can get started. Until then, we have an exciting Friday night happening tonight. Okay, first we have this author interview. Hi! First we have this author interview. Then over at Qatari's Pen is Lethal, we have a birthday party for Lene Williams. Oh, Selena, yay! Okay, Selena, at the bottom of your screen, there should be like a little bar and it will have like things and it will say, you'll see like a little guy and then there's like a little square next to him. And he's usually between like a lightning and a thing. If you click that, it will ask you if you would like to join. So just hit that button and it might take a minute or two. Just hit it once. Facebook will send me your notification that you wish to join. Hi, Crystal, that you're wishing to join and that, and I will bring you on. So as soon as I see that, like I said, it'll just be at the bottom somewhere. Or it might be at the top, between the thing and the thing. Exactly. It's between like the little, like thought thing. Oh, I see you. Yay! Okay, I'm going to go ahead and approve. Hopefully this will go. And it says connecting and Selena! You're
Hi.
here! Yay, you made it!
You are right. No, I could not find it on the computer, which is super weird because I don't have like anything to stand my phone on, but it's cool.
Oh,
It's
that's
cool.
fine. Well, I'm sorry. Oh, man. Well,
I might laugh a
I
little bit.
recommend getting like one of the things. I just find it easier. A lot of people have problems with live, and I think I've had to start doing it very generically. Like, even though I post the event, I don't start the live in the event because then I feel like Facebook only allows those who were invited in, or
Yeah.
who agreed
Yeah.
to go. So I stopped doing that. I stopped tagging the author in that event because I feel like Facebook never let them on the live because they think that like Facebook thinks that person's next to me because I'm with that person. Um, so I stopped doing that. So I just start the live in my group and then I let Facebook figure it out later. I'll connect the videos later. So how are you doing today?
Oh, I'm good. I'm
Oh,
good. I spent like most of the day reading, so
oh, I've been bad girl too. I have been reading too much and not writing any of my own stuff. Yours were one of the books I read. Before I get started this interview real quick, I just want to throw a shout out because like I said, Friday night is busy as you saw. We have you tonight for an hour to talk about your wonderful books and your newest release. We have a birthday party for Lene Williams over at Qatari's Pen is Lethal. Then we have a hot seat interview with admin and reader Crystal Davis, who actually happens to be watching this right now. Hi, Crystal. We're waiting to see what questions we're going to get for you. I feel like I want to ask you some, Andrea, hi. And then after that, we have author Trinae Adams coming in from the street lit side, and he's at 10 o'clock tonight because he's on the Pacific, so I have to stay up. I might do that one in my pajamas. I don't know. That's really late for me. And so we have a full night tonight. So I'm so excited. And thank you so much, Selena, for coming on with me because I know you were a little nervous, you told me.
thank you for having me. I'm always nervous when it's like I have to go live. If anybody like watched my live reading, I was super nervous too. But I kept laughing, but I wasn't laughing because it was funny. I was laughing because y'all don't even know. Like I was like reading the past. I was like, oh yeah, I remember this. Why did I pick this one? Oh, they don't know.
Well, I haven't done a live reading yet. I think I during my interview with Lene over at Qatari's, I think I read like a little snippet from actually this one, Oriana here, if it's still here from that interview. And it was kind of hot and I was like nervous in that way too, because I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm like P word. Not actually saying.
Oh no, I actually said, I didn't even think about that. I could have totally did that. Oh man, I should have asked. I should have asked. I didn't ask at all. I was just like, we're
Crystal
saying
says
this.
she's going to be in her pajamas tonight. I dressed up for you. You know, that's Selena. I was like, okay, so let me dress up tonight. I took a shower. Last time I did this, I had the pigtails again, but no makeup on. This time I'm like, all right, we'll do pigtails part in the middle this time. And makeup and a dress. And my husband's like, oh, yeah. I'm like, I'm getting dressed up for Selena tonight.
I was this close to dressing up, and I was like, no.
You don't have to.
If I leave my office, my child will chase me down. And so I was like, I'm already in here. That's it.
There you go.
I'm here.
My mother is here watching us as well. Hi, Mom.
Hi, Mom.
So she's here. She likes to watch these interviews. It's really interesting that she wants to see all these naughty books that I be reading and writing, and all the authors friends that I have that are writing them with me. You know, because yours was a sexy kind of naughty little book too, the first one, and I haven't gotten to read the second one yet because I was held up, so I didn't get to grab it and read it, but I'm excited to read it. But you know what, first tell us about you, who you are, what it is you write, and what books you have out right now.
Okay, well, my name is Selena Michaels. And I tend to do romance with a twist because as much as I want to say I do dark romance, it's a little hard in certain industries to get as dark as you want to. You know, there's a whole, for dark readers, you know, there's a spectrum. Some are gray, some are like pitch black. I will probably never do pitch black, but broken heroes, anti-heroes, and broken heroines are my thing. So I have been asked, are you gonna stop writing about that? Probably not. We all have issues, and I like to write about them. And I have my first book, Behind Two Screens, wasn't dark at all. That was just it was just really heavy on my heart because my husband had gotten out of the army, and I remembered like all the spouses that I met. It's almost like when you're watching a movie and you see that montage where it's like, you know, your life, you're like looking at it. It was kind of like that because I have friends all around the world, not just author friends, but like military spouse friends. You know, shout out to my dependopotamuses. But anyways, yeah. So I was thinking about some of the stories that I heard, and a lot, not a lot, but there was a handful of spouses that, you know, spoke to me about their domestic situation. And that's how Behind Two Screens was kind of born, because it was just heartbreaking to hear, you know. And then the next one was Mistress Restrained. And that I was really pulling for a femdom, but I got talked out of it. It's kind of depressing because I really wanted Jennifer to be a femdom. She was right there on that cusp where my readers were like, I see what you did there.
Now, but, who talked you out? Did you talk yourself, or your publisher, or your editor, or your friends? Or
publisher. Yeah, my publisher. They said they wouldn't publish femdom.
Who's your publisher right now?
Blushing.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I remember them from back in the day. I used to read when they were like Bethany's Woodshed and all that kind of. For those of you who don't know, this is back in, hi Holly, back in the day when we used to do subscription websites and stuff. I'm talking about like the aughts here, okay, guys?
Yeah.
We're talking about way back. This is like ebooks are still new and stuff, and anybody who wanted to read sexy spanking stories had to go to like that way.
Yeah, I think when I started reading sexy spankings, it was like Highlanders. Oh. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't only read historicals because I had a really hardcore Harlequin suspense romance phase where I was like collecting all of them. And I have like the whole Desire series, like the whole thing on my shelf. And my husband's like, they all look the same. I'm like, they're not the same. They just matchy match. But yeah, so Mistress Restrained was like my first step, like dipping my toes into BDSM. And then there's the Sicilian Obsession. Now at this point in my writing career, I was like, maybe I should stop winging it and, you know, maybe like create an outline or something. Oh. So halfway through, I was like, oh, I figured out what I want to do with this book. I should do a series. I'm going to start doing outlines because this is very confusing. And I got like so lost in the characters that I forgot like things that were happening. And so that started the series for the Picone crime family. And then the Sicilian Princess is the next book, and that released a couple of days ago.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, a couple of days ago. I'm surprised I got my paperback so quick.
Oh,
Amazon, just, you know, just jumping through my window like, here's your paperbacks.
oh, there you go. Well, and that's great. Now, for those of you who want to read that, you know, it is on Amazon, or you can find, is Blushing doing it from their website at all or anything like that?
Yeah, all books are wide. You can find them everywhere.
Okay, there you go. And Blushing Books, great authors there. I know a number of them. I have some favorite ones there. Some I've been reading a good decade or two now, you know, and including like, well, I've been reading like Melinda Barron and stuff for years. And so good books there. And now I am kind of intrigued about the military one, because I'm prior military. I'm from a military family and stuff like that. And I remember how hard it was for the dependents. Can you tell us a little bit about that first book? Give us the title again, and then kind of give us a little about what it's about.
The Sicilian's Obsession, or
no, the first one.
Okay. It doesn't really have any military background in it. It's just, it was stemmed from stories that I got from military spouses.
Okay, yeah. There you go. Okay. Now, you know, and those are heartbreaking stories. You know, I don't think people realize this, but at least when I was in the Air Force, and this was before the Iraq invasion, divorce was up at like 75%.
Oh yeah, it's so high.
And that was before, and domestic abuse was very high. Matter of fact, it was terrible because it felt like, at least on the bases I was at, no dogging, you know, but if you ever had to rotate through being a baby, what's it called when when you're a police officer for a couple weeks because you have to augmentee. Okay, sorry, my husband's sitting there. We were both military. But you know, having to go to those kind of calls and stuff like that, and you know, it and there is a lot. And you know, I remember having this discussion. I was a young woman back then, where I remember a wife looking at me straight in the face and saying to me, well, I know what goes TDY stays TDY, and you wouldn't tell me anyway. I remember that. I was like, well, I didn't see your husband do anything. I'm sorry. But I remember like the complicated relationships of
I just remember because we went to a duty station in California, like one of those small stations that was really secluded. And I remember because we married young. I mean, we're still pretty young, but we've been married a long time. And when we would argue, we're so passionate. You know what I mean? And in my family, when you argue, like, you could raise your voice, you know? But at the duty station, I remember one day I was going at my husband because, you know, we're young and we didn't really get the whole communication thing. It was more like, hey, I'm going to scream in your face and you're going to scream in my face and we'll figure it out. But I remember he was like, babe, you got to stop screaming, because the houses were so close. He was like, someone is going to call the MPs on me and I'm going to lose my job. And I was like, I mean, when you put it like that,
yeah,
I guess I'll sit down and have a rational conversation.
But that must be so hard.
Couldn't just let me scream. But then I also know, like, the stupid things, like the first time my husband left for a mission, I heard this scraping sound. And, like, I have a big imagination. I always have. I'm always talking. Like, I swore when I was a kid there were monsters in my basement. Not because I was scared of monsters. I wanted to befriend them. My mom was like, no, there aren't monsters in the basement. I was like, you don't see what I see. But when we lived there, he went on his first mission, which is about a week long, usually like a week or 2 weeks. And I heard the scraping sound outside, and I was like home alone, not watching anything. I had one light on because I was in school full time. So I was doing homework, and I was like, I will not procrastinate. I'm going to sit here and do my homework. Nothing can distract me. And then I keep hearing this scraping, and I'm like, oh my God, somebody's trying to break into my house just immediately.
Like, I would say you're on a base, right? You're in base housing?
Right.
It's like the safest place to be. You know that, right? At least, you know. for burglars and that anyway.
The first thing I do is call my sister, who lives in Texas.
Oh.
Mind you, I'm in California. And she's like, why are you calling me? I am in Texas. I can't do anything for you. And I was like, you're right. What do I do? She's like, I don't know. Call the non-emergency line. I was like, they have those? And she's like, yes. So I called them and I was like, I think somebody's trying to break into my house. And they sent an MP over and he's like, ma'am, I don't see anything. But by the time he got to my house, which wasn't long, it was probably like 10 minutes, I figured it out. All my neighbors were taking out the trash and they were pulling their trash cans over the rocks. But I felt so dumb that I didn't want to tell him.
That's what it was. I'm gonna say.
So I was like, thank you so much for checking. He's like, yeah, we're gonna do a routine like area scope. And I'm like, thank you so much. I feel so much safer from the trash cans.
Oh my goodness. I would say I always felt safe on base housing, or dorms or whatever. I'm like, that's the safest. Like I said, any calls that were coming in were because of our own, but I was like, that's usually the safest place. I'm sorry, I'm looking at my dog here. He's deaf. I have this deaf dog and I'm not sure what it is he's wanting. No. Mom, are you watching? If you're watching, will you send my husband to come get this dog? He can't hear me give him a command, so he's whining. I know he's sweet as pie though. Yes, I know, baby. I know. So he's talking to me. I'm so sorry. I'll take you with me.
No, you're fine. Oh, we're going on an adventure, everyone.
We're going on an adventure.
I feel like this is the best live interview ever. Now we're on an adventure.
Let's see the puppy. Puppy. Thank you, Mother. Did you hear me on live?
Yeah.
This is Selena. This is my mom, Lillian.
Nice to meet you. I love moms. I call everybody's mom my mom. I'm just like, hey, mom, hey, grandma. Like, what's their name? I don't know, grandma.
No, so your husband's out of the military now?
Yeah, he's a veteran now.
Oh, wonderful. And well, be sure to thank him for his service because, like I said, we're all big military people around here. Wow.
I will not. He gets really creepy about it. I don't know why. Every time someone thanks him for his service, it's like,
I know, because it doesn't feel like it when you're being paid.
He hates it. He hates it. Like, I'll call the bank and I'll be like, yeah. And they're like, oh, yeah, you guys are military because, we usually use some type of military bank. I was, oh, yeah, thank you. And I'll have them on speaker. They're like, yeah, thank you for your service. And I was like, what?
It was weird at
like,
first,
babe.
too. Now I'm just like, okay,
okay,
because like you say, you think, well, it's our job. We signed up to do that job. It's not like but it's I totally get that. So, but well, tell them I'm a veteran too. So yeah. But all right. So that was the first one. So it stems from stories that veterans or that other spouses had told you. So like, why that? Because that would have been your first book published, right?
Yes.
So, why that book? Why that story? Why that one?
I have always been, I know this is going to sound so weird. I've always been interested in domestic, like, abuse stories because I feel like there's so much more than just, whether it's male or female, because personally, I think, it can go either way, and it has gone other ways. And one day I will get into that because I feel like a lot of, in our society as a whole, and I don't want to like preach to anybody or dictate, but I just feel like a lot of stuff is put on men, and things that women are capable of, it's almost like nobody talks about it. You know what I mean? So that's just my whole take on it. But I think it's not just physical, it's mental, and there are a lot of great authors who have brought that out to the light where you can be, mentally abused, and I love that that's out there in the light. And I just feel like there's just so many reasons, because there's always that one judgmental friend who's like, well, why did you stay? Why didn't you just leave? It's like, I don't know, Bethany, maybe I didn't want to get stabbed.
Yeah.
Maybe I don't want to get stalked. Maybe I was fearful for my life, but okay. But yeah, so I just feel like, the more material that's out there, the more movies, the more books, the more audiobooks, the more stuff that's out there for people to hear and see and learn from, the more they'll learn from it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Rather than just, oh, I did it just on a whim, or I did it. I wanted another voice to be heard, I guess, is why. That's my why.
You were talking about men suffering from domestic abuse, and I've known a couple who have, matter of fact, military men, and they suffer through that stigma of if they complain too much, that people will be like, "Oh, you're being a pussy. You can't control your wife," and that. But my first fiance, my mom knows who I'm talking about. Husband doesn't, but he had a wife who used to do that, and he was like a 6 foot something man, like he was a huge guy, but he wasn't going to hit her back, you know what I mean? And so she was kicking his ass and he was just taking it. And
men are instilled from birth not to hit women.
Yeah.
Whereas as a kid, my mom used to tell me, man, woman, child, I don't care. If somebody rolls up on you, you give it to them. That's how I was raised. But I know for a fact, just even in my own household, that my older brother was raised not to hit a woman. And in fact, it was good that he had sisters, because when his girlfriends or, a female would try to, get physical with him, and he couldn't just, especially nowadays, you can just hold her down, because you can't, you know what I mean? You can't physically restrain a woman in public. And I don't want to make this all sexist and stuff. I'm just saying from a man's point of view, you can't just restrain a woman in public and expect people to be like, oh yeah, he's in the right. At least he didn't hit her. You know what I mean? Because automatically a stranger will look at that and be like, what are you doing to her? Let her go. Especially if you're like, most of the guys in my book who are like 6 foot something, I personally think of them all as mountain men, because I just have this slight obsession. But I don't know why. I have right now. I go through phases, and I have an obsession with mountain men, like huge, probably people who don't exist type tall levels, and like tiny women. Like if you actually read my books and you look at the actual height differences, you'll be like, wait, what?
So what's your smallest heroine then?
I don't think she's out yet, but I think 4'11" is my smallest.
And your tallest hero?
6'7".
Wow. Okay. Now, of course, this is a romance, so everything's big on him.
Yeah, everything's big.
Everything. And so then that means everything's small on her.
Yeah. I just like the whole idea of like picking you up, throwing you over his shoulder, and just be like, I'd like carry you off into the sunset or something,
So
or maybe like to a Denny's. I don't know.
The caveman.
Yeah, I'm in the cellist possessive group. Hey, we're accepting invites. But that's my plug for today. Jealous, possessive men who are super, super duper duper damaged. Like, we're gonna claim you. We're gonna hide your birth control. We're gonna get you pregnant. That's type stuff. Yeah, that's right.
Now, for those of you who are reading this, you got to remember this is a trope of darker romance. This isn't your traditional romance. And I was talking about darker romance today. Matter of fact, because I had just it's a common saying in the dark romance genre that, in romance, the hero will sacrifice his love to save the world, but in dark romance, the anti-hero will sacrifice
the whole world down.
Yep, to save his love. And so it's a whole kind of different genre, guys, a darker romance where the hero can be selfish and all these kind of things, because he's that obsessive and devoted to the heroine or heroines, or even another hero, whatever that might go there.
You on Netflix when that dropped. Oh man, I had a freaking field day. I called my friends. Did you watch You?
I haven't seen it. I don't watch it.
No, he's a stalker and he's a murderer. I know, hot, right? I wonder if he'll tie her up next time.
Oh, but you gotta love the fantasy of it, because as someone who's been stalked, I promise you, it's not
Yes, yes.
fun. It's actually happening.
I've started telling my readers that, because they're like, you're so obsessed about stalkers in my books. Yeah. Because when I was 16, I had one, and it was not fun. No. And I couldn't get like people to like believe me that he like would blow up my phone and like be everywhere, and like I felt like I was suffocating. So like, no, I don't really in real life want a stalker. Yeah. In my books though, like it's fine, you know, and non-con and dub-con in my books are fine. But in real life, no, I don't want that. Yeah. The BDSM thing, yeah.
Safe, sane, and consensual, and in real life BDSM people. And consensual.
Yeah. Although we're a little weird here.
Hey, no judgment for me. I have no judgment.
Like I didn't learn about like safe words and stuff until I want to say like after 50 Shades, because I was almost certain 50 Shades of Grey was lying to me. I was like, who signs a contract? I was like,
I'm sorry.
Safe word.
I don't mean to laugh about that.
No, it's fine. It's fine. I laugh because I'm like, babe, listen to this. Safe word. He's like, what you need to be safe for? And I was like, exactly. We just go do it. I was like,
I'm so sorry.
I told you we were going to end up laughing. I wasn't going to be able to control myself. My husband read 15 pages of 50 Shades right now. I've read the trilogy. And he said, after 15 pages, he said, she sounds like a bitch. And stopped reading. And I'm like,
and 50 Shades of Grey was such a poor representation as a BDSM lifestyle. I'm sorry.
I'm just happy that, you know, I wasn't like, because I know there are some people who were in the lifestyle. Now they're older people, you know what I mean? Like, you know, in their 60s or whatever. And they talk about, you know, before like clubs and stuff, where people would like meet up and you would just kind of like do stuff and you didn't know what you were doing. You were just like,
you mean like during the time when they also used to do like key parties and, you know,
like I might get choked tonight, I might not, I don't know. Like,
you know, that was all different
you know
times.
What I mean? Yeah, it was a different time. They were like, these are wild streets. Like, yeah. And I listened to those stories and I'm like, yet I still didn't know what a safe word was.
Is this going to be a book? Is someone taking notes? Come back. So, well, I'm glad that you have a safe word now, just in case, you know, you never know when that breath play or whatever gets a little out of hand. You know, accidents happen. So, you know, or you're like, nope, you're like not using safe words still. Okay, well, hey, that's, you know what,
right, you know.
Yeah, that's
your choice.
I recommend them with people, but you know, every relationship for, you know, we got to decide how, you know, much you trust your partner, and that I think has a lot to do with it too, you know. But if you're doing it with a stranger, definitely have a safe word.
Oh yeah, definitely. 100%.
You know, for you guys who like to be on like Tinder and
I don't even know. I was my husband's first and he was my first, so we don't know these things. So like people talk about it and I feel like we're so old, we're like, is that what the kids are doing?
It's so sweet though.
It's so sad. It's like sweet, like it's so cute and sweet, but on the same hand, we're just not in the know. Like we're really not.
You know what? There's something to be said about that. You know, I'm not gonna lie. I always kind of regret that I didn't have more sex partners. You know, I used to, you know, be like, damn it, if I could go back, I'd be such a hoe. I can't tell you how many hot guys I turned down.
I know. All my friends are like, let me tell you about my hoe phase. I'm like, you're who?
Yeah.
Well, I'm gonna go take notes, but okay.
But I felt like it's because I was older. We were still like shaming sexually promiscuous women, you know, like I tried not to, but you know what I mean? Like it was.
I grew up in a super Christian household. So, and my mom was very much preached about, you know, abstinence and stuff. And and it's also the time period we grew up in. You guys, you younger folks, I don't think you had to go through as much as we did, because I remember distinctly, I was just talking to my husband about this. I remember there was like this widespread like conversation everybody was talking about when we first started get like everyone in school when they started getting sexually active and stuff. We started talking about like AIDS and like herpes and stuff, and I was terrified. I was like, oh my god, you get AIDS from a seat? What? Like,
now, you know, I have
I
to
didn't
ask
know.
this. I don't know if you want to tell me or if you just rather give me like the year you graduated, but how old are you?
I'm 28.
28. Okay, I'm
Yeah.
42.
I'm still a baby. I know.
I
I
actually remember
know.
the 80s.
Okay, but you see what I'm saying? But like other like I have friends who are like 19,
Yeah.
you know, because military spouses come in all shapes and forms.
Yeah.
Love you guys. And they'll tell me like, oh no, my friend's like having sex with, you know, 10 people and not using anything. I'm like, oh what?
Yeah.
And they don't know?
And
No,
I totally
oh,
feel
it's
you because that
fine. And
it
I'm like,
shows it goes to show you how generations change after about a decade. Like things are so different,
Yanga.
you know, because you are
Yeah.
28, someone might be 19. I'm sitting here like I'm 42, and right now I know that there's a number of my viewers here because I know what their ages are who are like,
They're like,
you are so young.
wild.
I know you feel old, and because you say you've been married a long time. Oh, I'm 30, quit line. Oh, you're so sweet. Now my mother is 80, so she's like, you guys are just children as far as
Right?
she's concerned.
Like,
I see her coming in on the comments here, like,
yeah.
and my mother, my dad just passed in January.
I'm so sorry to hear that.
Thank you. But he and my mother were married, I think 62 and a half years, 62, almost 63 years. So, you know, for them, when I tell her that, you know, me and my husband have been married 18, she's like, nothing. But when I tell that to other people, they're like,
yeah, because like other people we know are like, oh, you know, I was married for a year and it was so hard. Like the first year is the hardest. Like people say it all the time. It's freaking true because you ain't got no money. Like I'm so serious.
EJ Frost is up in here talking about we're babies.
EJ, you're like 22. What are you talking about?
I know, she looks great. I know. I know. But she has college age kids. That's what she's trying to. But I know.
Yeah.
EJ. Oh, but you know what? I love that we've gotten to this place in our life. Like that first off, you know, like we have. Now I know I'm going to butcher your name here, Miss Martin. I'm going to call her Miss Martin here. Because Youngda.
Oh, Youngda.
Youngda. Okay. You know, saying you look 30. I think we've gotten to a place where a lot of us look younger than what we are. You know, so it's interesting now to hear that because people assume and they're like, "What are you like? You know, 30?" And I'm like, oh,
yeah,
no, no, I was.
It's the pigtails. Right?
I graduated before you were, you know, even an itch in Daddy's pants. I'm sorry.
To come back for me.
I was like, I'll be. Like,
yeah, I keep forgetting Hub's age because I'm 28, but he's like 33.
Oh,
But
that's not bad enough.
We're gonna say 33.
But I know
but
what you mean
like
by being in the military, especially in the military, those age differences. Because when I was, and my mom remembers this, when I was stationed in Germany, I had a boyfriend, a long-term relationship, and he was 34 and I was like 19, 20. Like,
yeah. And you know, it's not in my books. It's never like referenced in my books, but literally all of my characters have age differences.
oh,
Because
wow.
even though my husband is 33, he acts like he's a 65-year-old man. Yesterday, I caught him yelling at the kids about his lawn. I was like, oh, great. I've married my father. Yes, I made it in life. I was like, you don't even cut the lawn, sir, but they're on my lawn. I'm like, babe, get in the house and leave them kids alone. Leave
now,
the
my
kids
mom
alone.
is screaming what? Mama, what are you screaming what at? The fact that Steve was 34 and I was 18, 19. You met the man. You came to Germany. You met him with Dad. You didn't know he was that old?
She's like, I had a teacher who used to say that. He used to call us. He was probably like in his 60s, 65, and he used to call us young whippersnappers. And you know, I was a little bit of an arsehole as a kid, so I'd be like, you know, we'd be in the hallway like, you young whippersnappers. And now, like when we're all texting each other, like, oh man, these whippersnappers over here.
No, Mom. I guess Mom did not know he was that much older than me. Oh, yes, she was, Mom. Yeah, and matter of fact, he was a E6, E5, E6. Well, you know what? But I made rank fast. I was actually an E4, but I started dating him as an E3. Oh, there's EJ talking about I love your mom. Thanks, EJ. Yeah, she's a lot of fun. I was hung out with her today. Uh, well, all right. So that was your first book. Second book. Let's go to the second book. Let's talk about your second book.
Mistress Restraint. Oh man, that was near and dear to my heart because it was the first time that I was doing something not like dark romance, just like with darker themes, because I had something to talk about in that book. And there are themes and elements that you see in today's society that you're like, I had to get it out. I was like, you know what? This is what's happening.
Now,
And
so what would the story have been had your publisher not said, hey, you need to pull it back a little?
Oh my God, Jennifer would have dominated the hell out of Dean. Totally dominatrix.
Are we talking about like full on like the strap and everything? I
had a friend who she's from Texas and she knows exactly who I'm talking about, and many of my followers will too, who is a switch. And I messaged her and I was like, I want to do BDSM. And she's like, I got you, girl. And I was like, okay, if you're in a club and this guy looks at you and he's not supposed to, because like, you know, he's on his knees and he's clearly like owned or whatever, like, what do you do? And she's like, oh, I grabbed him by his face. And that's where the line in the beginning came from. Like, she told me that line because I was like, holy hell, like, can you come do that to me? Like, I'll be in Texas soon.
I could totally get into a hot dominatrix, actually. I'd be okay with that.
Yeah. And that was the plan. If you look at the first beginning scene, or not the first, well, I guess you could say the club scene, because Jennifer does punish someone in the club, but like she's not connected to it. But if you look at the first club scene with Jennifer and Dean, you will see that I had planned for her to be a dominatrix. Like, there was no switching afoot. I wanted her to be like, that's why I was called Mistress Restraint. I wanted her to be the mistress and just like fly, like just
yeah. Now, Andrea, like the next book should be whatever you want to write. Are you under contract with Blushing still? Do you still owe them books, or can you write?
So hard, okay. Because
that's okay. No, we can move on. I never want anybody to answer something they're not comfortable with. Are you allowed to self-publish anything?
Yeah.
Okay. But so if you wanted to, could you write a dominatrix book and self-publish it, or do you have to wait?
I could. I definitely could. And I don't know. This year is definitely a change for me because I also signed a series with someone else who's giving me a lot more leeway to do things that I want to do.
Wonderful. So, congratulations.
Thank you. I'm really excited about that.
Does the publisher know yet, or are you announcing that? Okay, you're announcing this on my. Hey guys, new publisher.
It is what it is. Hey.
Are you allowed to say who it is, or give us an idea? Is it anybody we all know?
Yes, Meryl actually.
Oh, okay.
Meryl Pierce. Yeah. I talked to her for a while, and I sent her some work, and she accepted. So I was like, yeah. And she was just like, are they all going to be like this? And I was like, yeah, probably. Yeah, probably. She's like, okay, you're just going to have to work harder. And I was like, okay, sounds good.
Wonderful. Well, congratulations. Yay. I should just bought a cover, I think, off there.
Yeah. I love her covers. Oh my goodness. She's always posting them like, man, if only I was self-published, then I could click to buy this. Like, I don't even have a book for this. I just want it.
Yes. Right. Well, but that's great that you found yourself like a more independent publisher that doesn't have genre restrictions,
Yeah.
Like that. So, because as Andrea said, you should get to write. Hi, Sandra. Sorry, I see someone saying good evening. Okay, so now let's talk about the book that I read, the one that has the hottest cover, like.
Are you sure? Are you sure it has the hottest cover? Wait, hold on. Let's ask the comment section. This is the one she's talking about.
Look at that.
Yes, I came prepared with props.
You just want to like rub your hands on the stomach and over the tattoos and stuff. It's so nice.
But then
I know, like
I don't know.
what made you decide, you know, I'm going to start doing these kind of books and talk about a little bit of the spanking and all that that's in that one?
Well, Mistress Restrained was the opening.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that was like getting my toe wet. And then I like personally, not that y'all need to know personally, but I like to be open. I'm an open book. I'm going to tell you everything. It's just the way that I am.
Mm-hmm.
Personally, I love the daddy kink. I know a lot of readers don't. And shout out to EJ Frost. Where's my book at though?
Daddy PI, love it.
Yeah, Daddy
My
PI.
favorite.
But I love
Hi, Mona.
the daddy kink, and funnily enough, I wrote these books last year. So I didn't even realize how much of the daddy element I had woven into. It's not really DDLG.
Yeah.
I don't really think so because there's no like rules and there's not. It's like if you had the daddy kink and you didn't know you had the daddy kink, basically. That's basically what it is, okay? Because again, baby author's still learning. So I wasn't like all about the rules and like how,
you know what, that's okay.
know,
Not every daddy dom has a little. Like some just have, you know, it's okay. That's okay. What you wrote was, I think, great. Personally,
yeah,
you know,
it worked for me, and that's kind of where it came in, and that's why I came in so late in the book, because it really wasn't the focus. And then before I knew it, she was just like yelling out daddy in bed, and I was like, oh, okay, we're going here, cool. And husband's like, what are you working on, baby? Like, come read this scene. Yeah,
I love
but
that.
yeah, so that's where the BD, I guess you could say BDSM play came in. And then it really was going to be about the security firm. That's why like he had like all of his friends showcase, and then the Sicilians just came in and was like, bop, bop, bop. F that security firm. We're doing mafia. And I was like, oh, okay. I mean, we're still going to be in Philly, right, though? Like, we're still in Philly, right?
So the character, the story wove itself. Like, it came from the universe.
There's no, I had no control over it. That's why, like, you know, we're really into the security firm, and halfway through, it's like, oh, yeah, by the way, mafia. What? Like, there's no shame in my game, because I tell people I'm going to make mistakes, and if you're going to read them, then, you know, when I'm like 3 years down the road and I've got my outlines together and I've got myself like, this is how I write and that's how I do it, you guys are gonna be like, man, do you remember when she didn't know what she was doing? Them characters just popped up like, hey, now we're mafia. Like, she didn't plan series, like it just showed up. The surprise element where you're like, no, I didn't see that coming because you didn't see it coming.
I'm like, I'm asking the wrong questions because you're like, nope, I had no plan. Don't ask me. No.
Oh, it's fine.
All right. Well, what about the second one, the one that just released? How about that one?
The Sicilian Princess. Okay, I did start loosely outlining for that one because once I figured out, I started with Luciano, and then once I figured out that he has like siblings, I was like, oh, well, I want to know about his siblings. You know, what are they doing? Mm-hmm. And I was like, Luciano's a little too crazy for me, so we just push him over here. You get out of here, Luciano. And I started looking at his siblings, and I was like, you know what? It would be cool because at first he had like all brothers, and I was like, yeah, but what if he had like one sister? Like, how do they treat their women? Like, you know. And then, you know, I gave her an issue that made her undesirable in, you know, the majority of the men's eyes, because that's how they are. You know, you have to be, if you're a woman living in that lifestyle, you have to be perfect. Like, you have to be on it. You have to dress a certain way, talk a certain way, walk a certain way. And that's just the way it is. You can't be less than. So I really dove into her story because I felt like not everybody's perfect, you know what I mean? So that's where that came from.
Now, I haven't read it, so I don't know what this imperfection is. Is it like a physical, a mental,
Physical?
Physical. Okay.
Yeah, physical.
Wow.
I don't want to spoil it.
No, that's fine.
You know.
But it's good. Is it like a physical, as in like physical visual, or is it like someone who has a disability, would you say? Or is it?
Yeah, she's more disabled, if anything.
Okay, so I love that.
Yeah.
I'm disabled myself. So I have MS, Hi, Katina. So, that was actually the kind of character that I think would speak to me. So I'm definitely going to have to go read it like sooner rather than later. But, I'm so behind, and my own publishers are going to kill me because I have been reading and not writing. And then I got stuck in, I have OCD. Everybody knows this. And, my Zoloft and Wellbutrin and the occasional calm can only do so much. So occasionally I will read a book that I like so much, I get stuck in a spiral. I did this with DJ's book. I did this with a Zoe Blake book. I have done this with a couple books, and I just did it again with, oh my goodness, I just, uh, uh, Vow of Obedience. I just spoke to her. Who?
Oh yeah.
Well, you saw me post about it.
I
Anyway,
know.
it'll
I
come
saw
to
that.
me in
Yeah.
a second. But MS. See, this is what I mean, right?
Mhm.
But and I keep. I don't know why. Sometimes something triggers. I don't know why. I get stuck reading it over. So instead of
No,
moving
okay.
on, I'll read another book. I can read 3 books a day easily. But instead of like, I should go write, I'll instead read a book I just read 3
Yeah.
times this week. You know what I mean?
I think that's why I wrote Katina the way that she is,
Mhm.
because a lot of people are like, were you trying to do OCD? No, not really. Not really, because I know nothing about OCD. And really what I was writing, her going into the spirals of cleaning her kitchen
Mhm.
and like cleaning her house was how I am about reading books. That is literally what I was writing.
I really felt for that heroine too. I
Yeah,
really did.
she
I think
had a
I
lot
put this
going
in
on.
my Amazon review actually, because I do have OCD. It actually, I don't know if it came from the trauma, but I actually remember my first real problem with it came from when I was in the military, and I got hit with a security violation that I know I did not actually violate. Oh, Andrea says she's got to run. She'll catch on YouTube. No problem. We'll do it. We only got 15 minutes, but definitely thank you, Andrea, for coming out and watching us. So my mom will probably actually remember this because I was in tech school at this time. So I was on a night shift for school. So I happened to be in the dorm during an inspection, and it was Thanksgiving weekend. And the major comes in with the first sergeant and stuff. And if you failed if people who failed couldn't go home for the holidays. Well, he failed our whole bay. And so I was like, sir, if I clean everything up real quick, whatever you found, if I fix it real quick, can everybody go home? Because they're all at school. They can't.
Yeah.
I just happened to be in the dorm. Well, because I happened to be in the dorm and I knew they were coming in, I went and checked my room was effing perfect, including everything locked. So when I said this, the major, I could see he probably was slightly offended because how dare I approach him, right? Big
Yeah.
officer, just enlisted E2 at the time. And he was like, you know what, Emma Tracy, yeah, you go ahead, clean up. And while you're doing that, I'm going to go inspect your room. Well, when he came out, I had done everything and looked great. And he was like, okay, everything's good. Everybody can go home but you. And I was like, what? Why? And he's like, you have a security violation. You left your window unlocked. And I was like, but I can't dispute him.
Right.
Right. Well, after
Mm-hmm.
that incident, and I remember calling my mom to tell her I couldn't come home. It was like really sad. And when the girls, because I had like 20 girls in my bed, came home and found out, like the next morning, there was like protests up front, not just ours. He failed like half our squadron, but anyway. Point being is after that happened, I developed OCD, especially about things like locks and stuff. And it got
Yeah.
so bad that I had to go to like for years I dealt with it, and it's not even like the counting. I don't do the compulsive counting. It's the obsessive. So I
Yeah.
go and I know it's locked. I'm halfway to the grocery store and I have to turn around because I don't trust my own memory because of one incident that happened 20 years ago when I know my memory's right, but someone that you're supposed to trust tells you it's like.
Trauma is such a funny thing, and that's what I write is trauma
Yeah.
because I have a lot of it, right? I
Mhm.
should probably get a therapist. I'm not going to though.
I had one for 5
For
years.
the world.
They only do so much anyway.
Trauma is such a funny thing because before this live, I jumped up. It was like 6 o'clock, and I jumped up and I was like, I gotta read my book. And my husband was like, what? And I was like, I gotta go read my book. And he's like, why? And I was like, I got that interview. And he's like, I know, but why do you need to read the book? You wrote it. And I'm like, yeah, but like, I wrote it last year. And he's like, I don't get it. And I was like, I have other characters, more pressing characters, more characters in the forefront. Like these characters, I've told their stories, and now it's just like out in one ear, out the other. Katima who? Like when I'm, and it's so funny because like my beta readers will even like when they come back with like notes and stuff, I immediately, like two of my beta readers, I've known them for years, and they immediately get back to me because they know for a fact that if I'm not continuously writing or if I'm not editing this, as soon as my eyes are off of it, it's gone. And like I remember in this story in particular, my one beta was like, hey, so I really like what you did with Katima in the kitchen, but I think you need to like really bring her inner voice out. And I was like, what kitchen? It's like, don't play me. You know the kitchen scene. Like in Mistress Restrained, it happened as well, where there was an office scene, a hot, spicy office scene, and he called me because he's a bisexual man. He called me. He's like, baby, and I was like, what? Did you hate it? And he's like, that office scene. Oh, why did you tell me about it? I was like, tell you what? And he's like, I was sitting at the dinner table with my family. It's like awkward. And he's like, I had to excuse myself. And I was like, goodness. I love you. But then I was like, but I don't understand. Like, is it like the long looks? He's like, no, where he better? I was like, yeah, sure, right. The office scene. Like, go reread the book. It's horrible.
I think as authors that all happens. Like I said, I can't even remember sometimes, especially like names and that. I'm like, what's the name? You know, that character that I wrote myself. Like, you know. Oh,
I'm surprised I remember like the first two because they're ebooks and because they're not long enough. They're more like novellas than like actual novels. Yeah. They won't be getting paperbacks. I really like Mistress Restrained's cover, so that kind of bums me out because I wanted it on my shelf, but it's okay, it's fine. It's all fine here.
Well, but yeah. What are you working on now?
Right now, I am in the middle of a series that had just started, so am I book 3? Yeah, I'm book 3 in this series with a plan for 5 more books. Yeah, I didn't, yeah. Actually, now that I think about it, that's a lot of books. I didn't think about it. I started one way, and again, it's just like this. I planned them out, but I was doing standalones. And in the author world, you're told, like, you know, oh, you got to do series. And I was like, but I'm really, really good at standalones because, like, I just want to brain dump these characters and move on and create a whole new world, you know, like that song. But I started writing the first book. Then I branched off to like, you know, someone in that realm. And then I branched off and built like a community in the third book where I started to really weave in like who were the bad people, you know, because you always have to have that that negative character, that bad person, or at least in my books I like to have that bad person, which I feel like it's always going to start ending up being like corporations and stuff. I don't know why. Down with the man.
Easier. No, easy. Like everybody knows that villain already. Like, you know, we live with
I feel like it's because, you know, in my family, my older sister is like kind of a conspiracy theorist. So she's always like, hey, I bet you this.
Is this the one in Texas?
And I'm just like, yes. And I'm just like, girl, that's crazy. I'm gonna write it down. She's like, well, when it's true, you heard it here first. And when I get snatched by the aliens.
I believe in aliens. I have actually a niece who swears she's been like abducted and stuff. And you know what I tell her? I believe you. You know, no one else believes her in the family, but I believe her. And I tell her, I was like, why would you lie about that?
Aren't real. You want to know why? Because I got some real awkward romance novels that I read. So if I get snatched, they'll probably send me back. Like, the human wants us to procreate. Like, what?
You're like, experiment. Is that the probe? Do you have something bigger?
the human keeps talking about fated mate. Like, send the human back because the human is crazy. Like, yeah, the aliens don't want me. Like, what? And then Yanga makes it worse because she just wrote an alien romance that's just like, can I get more?
Oh, really? Well, make sure Yanga put it down in the comments for us so we can all check it out. I feel like I have some of your books already, but does she write under Yanga or a different?
Y.D. Lamar.
Yes, I have 2 books of hers actually. It's sitting in my thing.
You
How
made
did
it
I
worse.
make it?
The tingling legs, girl. I don't know. The eyeballs on the tingling legs. Like, what? I don't even know. And the way she explains it is so descriptive when she like builds these like characters. So I'm reading it and it's like, and then his legs tingled in pleasure. What? Wait.
Not Yanga. She's the one who writes the one story I was just reading. Not started. It's like I think it's Arachnophobia.
Is
that what it was called?
I think so. Arachnophobia, right, Yanga?
I have that one. I just started that one, and it felt very street lit actually, because the guy,
Yeah, because that's a part of the Arrhythmia street series.
Ah.
It's like a trilogy.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah, arachnophilia. Sorry.
There it is. Okay, so that's the one I've started. I haven't finished it yet, but I have started it.
Well, that's because I'm scared, Yanga. I'm always scared. I'm not gonna be a lover of spider. Okay. I mean, I guess I
gotta finish it.
Spider story.
Will Yanga also come on interviews? You think?
Oh yeah. Yeah, she definitely will. Yeah, reach out to her. She definitely will come on to interviews.
Well,
yeah.
What do you want readers to know about you and your writing? And
I guess don't put me in a box. I know, like it's so easy to like put authors, and sometimes it's even comforting to put authors in like a little box. This is their subgenres. This is what they do. Let us breathe and let us branch out, because I really, as much as I love doing like the contemporary, in my like deep heart, way back in there, down deep, I really want to do like paranormal. I'm never going to just do like I know a lot of readers had asked me if I was just going to do interracial. Probably never. I'm too busy trying to dip into like all heritages and all different races and all different religions and learn as much as I can. And honestly, if I make a mistake and you drag me for it, I will probably thank you for it, because then I've learned. You know what I mean? Yeah, it's out in public and it's like, everybody's going to read it. But then, I will rewrite a different character that has, the things that I got wrong. So don't put me in a box. Don't try and label me, because, tomorrow I could be like, you know what? Dark romance. Let's do sports romance. Like, I don't know. That's just how it is.
Well, as I go to wrap things up, do you have any like last things you want to say? Anything I missed? Something you wanted me to ask you and I forgot to ask? Because sometimes
we did get off on a tangent, didn't we? I mean, besides like, if you read me, leave a review and follow me. Follow all my author friends, because 9 times out of 10 I'm not talking about my books. Like, yeah, I talk about them, but
it's more fun to talk about other people's. I'm an author too. I'm always talking about other people's books.
I'm a reader first and foremost. Like, yes, I'm an author. Yes, it's fun to create my own little worlds, but honestly, reading my stuff is cringeworthy, which is why when I went live to do a live reading, I was like hiding my face. I was like, why did I write this?
I saw part of that actually, and I thought it was great. I forgot why. I think I couldn't finish or something. I was probably going somewhere. Her husband came in or whatever, but I saw part of it. I thought it was fine.
Everybody was like messaging me, "Oh, you're so cute. You're so adorable," and I'm like, I don't want to talk about it.
Do you want to read a paragraph right now? We have time. You can. Go ahead.
I could. All right, I'm gonna just do a random one.
Yeah, go ahead. Do whatever you want.
All right, let's see. We'll do a paragraph. Maybe not that paragraph. Oh, and I really like nicknames, so that's where that comes from. Like, Rose's nickname is Little Thorn, which is, we're doing this one. Yanda. She's always in the back. I'm like, do it. All right.
Hi, Katina.
Let's see. Did you know that drinking excessively could trigger a seizure? Oh my goodness, no. Rose, why didn't you tell me? Yunji's voice was pitching hysterically. I was only hoping that the good doctor would be here soon. I just wanted to have fun with you, Rose pouted, using her big eyes to try to sway Yuji. And you can, without putting your health at risk. Yuji covered Rose's hand with her own. Come on, little Thorn, let's wait outside for the doc. He's going to help me sober you up. I helped Rose down and took her outside for some fresh air. Just having my hands on her body was a temptation. I couldn't stop the rush of feelings I had for her. Why did you kiss her? Rose was swaying on her feet. Who? I was worried only about her. Amber the skank. Rose poked me hard in the chest. I had forgotten about Amber the minute my eyes landed on Rose's at the bar's entrance. She kissed me, little Thorn. I would never initiate. I leaned down and put my face in her hair, breathing in her scent. I trailed light kisses on the back of her neck while she leaned into me. I couldn't help myself. I couldn't be this close to her and not touch her. You didn't pull away, she argued. I chuckled darkly into her shoulder. She was jealous. It didn't put me off either. It was sexy as hell. I was too busy focusing on you. That's why I tried to talk to you right away. I don't want Amber. I want you. I whispered against her soft skin. Her breath hitched and my cock grew. Someone cleared their voice to the right of us, pulling me out of the lust I felt for Rose. Doc Brown was standing by us impatiently.
There you go, guys.
There you go. And I said the C word. You're welcome.
Thank you so much, Lena, for coming on tonight. I appreciate that you came on and told us about you and your fabulous books. I'm ready to read the second one in your Sicilian Mafia stories. And,
thank you so much for having me.
And the sexy spanking, which I love personally, and I love reading daddy books as well. So I hope that I can bring you back on again so we can catch up some more. Had a great time. Would love to do it again. Now, I know you sometimes we hang out in groups, right? And stuff.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So we'll have to do that too. We should start doing parties like that. I know we do for writing.
Yeah, we do writing parties. I feel like we need like reading parties where we can just like sit and be like, what are we talking about today? And then we could just like, because I would sit on there for hours.
Right. Yeah. Reading parties where we all like
reading
get to bring like our favorite like paragraph or something from our like whatever work in progress or book we're reading.
Yes. Oh gosh. I would go crazy because like I usually read about 5 a day.
EJ, like, what do you think about that? You're like our group person. That's like the group, but Yanda. The room person.
You know what, Yanda? I'm gonna invite you to the writing party. I got you.
Oh, there you go. Like, I'm sorry. I was like, EJ, you're our room person. Like, I was still trying to learn how to do rooms. I'm like, EJ had to help.
Yeah. That's how I ended up in the writer's room because EJ was doing writer's rooms. And then I was like, what? And they're like, we have a group for this. And I was like, what?
Right. Oh, and I have been terrible. I have not filled in because I haven't been writing. So if I went back to fill out my Excel sheet, it would just say book, reading.
I don't even do that. I haven't been writing either. I'm technically on a break as I outline, but my outline is like super in depth for some reason. I don't know.
It started as like so you can just write into it.
Yeah, it started as bullet points, but now it's like actual paragraphs of stuff. And I'm like, oh, are we just writing the book now? Like, yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Exactly. Yeah. So Young, there was writing rooms. EJ's got a great one. And now hopefully there's going to be reading rooms. Maybe we're going to start like a new party.
Here for reading rooms. I will totally join those.
I will, especially if they're like the dark romance books and the daddy books. I would love to talk more about
I'm always bringing it. Sometimes like I'll just post in groups. My posts are so weird. Like today I was like, I'm looking for a medical romance where the male is the doctor and the heroine has a terminal illness. # make me cry.
I think romance for the happiness of it. But yes, if you wish to, I want to cry from like,
So people were like, so you don't want to happily ever after? I was like, I don't know. This is going to put me in my mood for my interview.
Oh. All right, guys. I got to go. I got to get to Lene's birthday party. Guys, find me in Katari's group so we can keep chatting. I think it's, just a digital. She'll be on there with Crystal, and then we're in comments for that. And then there's a hot seat, and then it's Trinae Adams tonight. Very excited about the dark street lit. I mean, but Younga, since you write it, hopefully you'll come out tonight. Let's talk about some street lit. So, thank you so much again, Selena, and I will see you guys later. I love you guys. Thank you again, Tia.
Thank you for having me. Bye.
All right, and I'll see you soon. Bye.